Studies show that yoga has a very beneficial effect in our cognition. And maybe we've known this for a while. Some of us that have practiced for a while, you notice when you don't do yoga and when you do. You're still looking for keys and wondering why you went to the refrigerator and forgot what you were going to the refrigerator for, or sometimes you forget names of friends that you just saw yesterday. But perhaps some of that is that we just have too much going on in our lives. I'm no neuroscientist, but it's so wonderful to read studies that are respected by the National Institute of Health that confirm that the mindfulness of the practice, the physical actions just stimulate mental activity. In this practice, we'll focus on breath, we'll focus on attentiveness to our movement, and especially a mindful practice where we're cognizant of the effects of different actions in our poses. We'll begin lying down. If you've got a blanket, roll it up. If you don't have a blanket, grab a beach towel, but we'll be lying over this as a way to open the upper chest. Take your blanket or a beach towel or even roll up your yoga mat and make it a tight roll. Place the blanket right behind your sternum, and sometimes it's a little hard to find that. So feel free to move around to find that. With your elbows on the top of the blanket roll, you just find that area right behind the sternum. And it may not feel that comfortable at first, but take your arms in a cactus pose and see if you can just pause here. Close your eyes. Take your attention to your breath. Now, if this feels too uncomfortable for you, you could just have a much smaller roll, just a little lift there. You can take your feet together and your knees wide apart to come to Supta Baddha Konasana. And again, just do what feels comfortable for you. We'll start our practice just focusing on the breath, bringing our awareness to the area that expands so fully with the in-breath. Very long, full out-breath. If it's comfortable for you, take your hands right below the collarbone. And with a slight pressure of your hands, just feel as you breathe in, you expand into the palms of your hands. As you breathe out, just allow just a little pressure from your hands to let the breath out. Have the in-breath very full and as long as it's comfortable for you. Pause after the in-breath. Draw a long, easeful out-breath. As the breath draws in, you feel the upper part of the lungs just expanding the upper chest so fully. The out breath just allows this slow, steady release. Now, without the use of your palms pressing against your skin, release your hands back into this cactus pose. And keep that nice steadiness, that nice evenness of the breath. So often this part of the upper back gets so rounded from our daily activities, and its natural curve is this roundedness of the upper back, but as we age, many of us accentuate that roundedness through our activities. Keep a nice ease about the breath. If your inner groin muscles feel a little bit too stressed in this pose, then take your knees up. You can draw your inner knees in toward each other and step your feet as wide apart as your mat is. Or straighten your legs. Become aware of sounds, especially the sound of your breath. The timing of the breath. The fullness of the pause between the in-breath and the out-breath. The pause between the out-breath and the in-breath. Now roll over to your right side and off the blanket. Put the blanket to your side and lay back. You can either keep your knees bent and your feet planted or stretch your legs out, your choice, and notice the difference. Your breath is full. Maybe you're feeling with each in-breath, you expand just a little bit more fully to the upper lung area. The out breath is long. For many of us, the cognitive benefits really come about in the yoga practice when we have a very slow and very mindful practice. So in today's practice, move at a pace that works for you. You can bend your knees, take your arms up and over your head, and draw over to your side, and rise up to all fours position. In all fours position, look back at your feet and hide your feet right behind your knees. With your knees hip distance apart, with your toes tucked under, reach your pelvis back. We open the upper chest. Now with your fingers extending long, release your head down to start lengthening through the sides of the body from the pelvis to the armpit. Release your head and step your hands over to the right side to give a little bit more length to the left. Now stack your left hand on top of the right hand. Slide your left hand just a little bit taller than your right hand and reach your left hip back. Find this fullness to the left side. Take your hands back to the center position. If your toes tucked under doesn't feel comfortable for you, you can always come to a child's pose if that works better. Walk your hands over to the left side. Keep your armpits lifted, your elbows lifted. Stack your right hand on top of your left and slide the palm of the right hand just so that it's a little bit taller than the left. Now pull back from the pelvis toward your right heel. Now breathe in to expand the right side ribs. If you start your practice very slow, with great awareness to your actions, you can keep a nice steadiness to the breath. Come back to the center position with the fingers spread, with the head releasing toward the earth to lengthen the back side of the neck. Allow nice ease here in the breath. Come to all fours position. In all fours position, step your right foot forward. Have your right knee right above the right ankle and walk your hands over to the left. Just bow in. I'm on fingertip top positions as a way to just get a little bit more length as I bend the elbows, reaching the elbows at this diagonal. Stay with a nice evenness of the breath. Pelvis moves slightly to the right. Nice, slow, and steady practice. You come back to all fours position to step your left foot just to the outer edge of the mat. Have the left knee over the ankle. Walk your hands at the diagonal and bow as a way to open the hips, to stay steady in the breath. And now come back to all fours position and step back to either puppy dog pose, which is with your pelvis right over your knees, your head release, or downward facing dog, your choice. Come to a nice easeful breath. And step your hands to your feet so you're at the very back of the mat. With your knees bent, take your hands right above your knees and move your spine. Draw your heart forward and lift your chin. On the exhale breath, look in toward your heart and get your back body full. And inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, take your arms up, have the hands wide apart, draw your pelvis back, take your right hand to the outside of the left knee, open the chest, keep strength in the legs. Come back to the center position. Take your left hand to the outside of the right leg and open the chest. Come back to the center position. Take your hands down to the mat. Walk them forward. Come either again to all fours position so that you can come to the puppy dog pose of downward facing dog or downward facing dog, full downward dog. Breathe in deep and out long. Walk your feet up to your hands. Place your hands to your low back and rise up. Now step wide on your mat. In a wide stance, take your arms in the cactus pose like we did when we started lying down. Take your hands back relative to your elbows. Reach back. Take your hands to the mat and walk your hands over to the left. Straighten your right leg, bow in, rise up. Come to the right side, bend your right knee with the left inner thigh moving back, bow in, and rise up. Heel toe your feet in toward each other. Place your hands to your low back and rise up. At the top of your mat, with your arms in cactus pose again, elbows forward, palms back, you open the upper chest with a nice fullness to the breath. Keep that fullness and take your hands to the mat. Step your right leg back. Take your right knee down. Take your hands to your left knee. And lift up, reach up. Take your hands in the cactus pose again. Elbows forward, hands back, reach back. Release your hands down. Step your back foot forward. Place your hands to your low back. Rise up. Reach up. Bend your elbows. Create this nice fullness in the upper chest again. Reach back. Take your hands to the earth. Step your left leg back. Place your hands right above your right knee. Settle into the pose. With the arms in cactus pose again. Reach them back. Release down. Step the back foot forward. Place your hands to the low back and rise up. Step your left foot back. Park your back heel down with the left hip point moving toward the front of the mat. Bend your right knee, reach your arms up, take your hands wide apart. Straighten your right leg, swing your arms back, interlace your fingers for a nice shoulder extension as you honor your practice, as you bow forward. Keep your back leg strong and root down through the back foot to rise up. Release your hands, step your left foot forward, step your right foot back, bring your right hip point forward, bend your left knee, take your arms up to get the back bend we've been working on. Bend your elbows, reach your hands back, extend your arms, find this fullness in Virabhadrasana number 1. Release your hands down, interlace your fingers behind your back with a nice openness in the heart, bow forward. Keep your back leg so engaged. You might even lift up your interlaced fingers slightly. And now root down to rise up. Step your back foot forward. Come to a wide stance once again. In a wide stance with your feet to the rear of the mat. With your left foot at the back of the mat, little space in the front of the mat. Lift your arms up and take it down. From triangle pose, let's come to a balance pose. Keep a nice evenness in our actions, in our breath as we come to balance. Look at the floor, bend your knee, step in and lift the back leg up. See how you can open the chest, breathe freely and naturally. Come back out of the pose by looking back toward the back foot. Slowly making your way to triangle pose again. And rise up. Release your hands down. Step to the front of the mat to go the opposite direction, so you've got a little space. The back of the mat, you open the chest, take your hand down. Untitled Konasana. Come to the balance pose, step in, Ardha. Lift the back leg high. Open your chest nicely. Come back to triangle pose. Rise up. Come to a seated pose through squat. As you walk your feet in, come to squat and slowly make your way to the mat. Fold the left knee in front. Take your right foot to the outside of the left knee. If that doesn't work for you, straighten your bottom leg. Turn toward your inner right knee as you pull in with the right leg. Step your right hand toward your left cheek. Open your chest nicely. Reach your left arm up and take your left elbow to the outside, if possible, of the right knee. Keep the arms straight as a way to keep the chest so open. Release out of your pose. Have the right knee down. Take the left leg across. Pull in with the left leg. Turn toward the inner left knee. Take your left hand toward your right cheek. Press down to lengthen. Find fullness before reaching your right arm up. Keep your left leg actively pulling in as you take your right arm down. I like straightening the right arm as a way to get this nice opening. If that's not working for you, please modify it in a way that does work for you. The yoga practice just involves customizing, and not customizing just once, but pretty much every time you come into these poses, you feel a little different in the body, and you just have to make adjustments. Come back to the practice again and again, and release. Now come to lie down, and we're going to use the blanket again to keep that opening of the chest. And so take the blanket in its long way, parallel to the long edges of the mat. And with the pelvis on the mat, a little lift to the low back. Lower yourself down so you have that opening of the upper chest again. One of the many benefits of yoga is this ability through the breath to find this place of great focus and awareness, because you're at ease. So as you allow your legs to be completely supported, the arms supported as well, close your eyes. Find a position of comfort. Now find a place of ease. Thank you for joining me in the practice with great self-awareness, with great recognition, and with great ease. Enjoy Shavasana. Namaste.